Well, we're obviously worried at any escalation of U.S.-China tensions. The first time there was the tariff escalation, we made very clear, and we said we were very concerned. We would wish the U.S. and China to de-escalate. They did, and I think they handled the situation really well at the time. So similarly, we are really hoping and that the two sides will come together and they will de-escalate because any U.S.-China tensions and U.S.-China decoupling have implications not just for the two biggest economies in the world, but also for the rest of the world. Because if that decoupling happens, there'll be fragmentation of trade. And our modeling shows that any kind of decoupling that divides the world into two trading blocks is going to result in significant global GDP losses in the longer term, okay? Up to 7% global GDP losses and double-digit welfare losses for developing countries. So it's not only the big powers or the rich countries that will lose, the poorer countries will lose even more. For that reason, we would hope that the U.S. and China will be able to talk to each other, have dialogue, will de-escalate the situation, and we'll get to a situation where both of them can work in a conducive manner. So I made the point here also in my what I said last night actually at the G20. I made the point that U.S.-China trade tensions is something that we would like to see a de-escalation because it adds to the uncertainty of the global outlook. Yes, so we are very, very, very keen from the WTO standpoint to see a de-escalation of tensions. We've had meetings with the USTR before, Ambassador Greer, but this time around we actually had a really good meeting with Ambassador Joseph Barloon, who has just been confirmed as the U.S. representative to the WTO. He's deputy USTR. So we spent time with him yesterday to begin the conversation, and I think it was a very good meeting. Well, I think that both sides have handled their relationship and their negotiations relatively well and have calmed tensions, which has been very helpful to the whole world. And I really want to stress how appreciative we are, at least from the trade standpoint, of the way they had handled the de-escalation, and we just want them to do the same thing. So I believe them. I think both sides recognize the importance of, reasonable dialogue and relations between them for the rest of the world. And we're very hopeful that there'll be a pathway forward in which de-escalation can happen. There's absolutely no doubt that there are global problems that cannot be solved by any one country alone. And you will need global cooperation to do it. And that's where multilateralism will still be very, very relevant. But to make sure that the organizations are really appreciated, we have to reform. And at the WTO, we are ready to work on this. So we've been very clear from the start if members could talk to each other in the U.S. So all that has happened. And I think what we need to do now is, as I said, not be complacent, because 72% is on WTO terms. Neither should we become. We've got new numbers for world trade. We've projected that world goods trade will be growing at 2.4% this year, up from the 0.9% we projected after the August tariffs. So this is all showing the resilience of the system. But our thinking is that gives us a little bit of breathing room to really work hard on the reforms, because next year we are projecting 0.5% growth. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I'd love to